there's a lot of basketball left, and anything can happen. Tommy Beer, do you have any bold predictions for us?
I'm going to go with a hot take here. Steph Curry, as we know, is going to be out for the rest of February, but his next medical reevaluation is going to be March 1st. The Warriors actually play the Wizards that day. My prediction is he is cleared to return that day and then goes on to be a top 10 overall player for the final 6 weeks of the season. It's not like he was dealing with a knee injury where they're going to have to keep him out of back-to-backs or, some type of serious long-term injury. This is a hand injury. He's already started to do some conditioning work, so it's not like he's going to have to come back and play 15 minutes. He should, theoretically be in shape. And we know that Steph Curry can shoot. So I think he's itching to get back on the floor. I think he'll be cleared a couple weeks before ready. They'll hold him out. And yes, the Warriors are basically out of the playoffs, but I think he'll have something to prove. And remember, the last time Steph was on a team without KD and Clay and all those guys, without Kevin Durant, rather, it was unanimous MVP type production. So I'm high on Steph.
Is that top 10 per game, or do you think total? Because you got to expect some DMPs and back-to-back sets, things like that, right?
I'm going to go per game, yes, but I think there'll be less, holding him out of back-to-backs than you might suspect, just because of the fact that, again, he's going to work up conditioning, and it's not like it's a knee or anything significant like that.
Okay.
And that's what I was going to say. If this was an ankle or a knee, I'd be terrified.
Yes, agreed.
And the fact that the Warriors don't really want to win basketball games right now makes me a little nervous. But they want to see Curry play with Andrew Wiggins.
Yep.
They want to see Curry. The fans,
yeah.
the season ticket holders want to see Curry.
Yep.
That's true.
First year in that new building.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants, and Curry wants to play. I mean, Curry's not one of those guys.
He loves the game.
Yeah. Yes.
He's not one of those guys that wants to sit on the sidelines.
Exactly.
And they have guys like Damian Lee, Kai Bowman, Jordan Poole. It benefits them to get reps with their resident superstar.
Yep.
So, Ryan, who are you taking?
I'm going to say that Karl Anthony Towns is done for the season. I don't think he comes back. The Wolves are a terrible team. They've been really vague about his injuries all year. This wrist injury is no different. It's unclear what I think the latest thing I heard was that surgery is not currently considered necessary, but what does that mean? There's just no reason for them to bring him back. They have a very interesting guy behind him in Naz Reid, who has been great as a kind of short-term, a small sample size, but he's looked awesome. I would pick him up everywhere. James Johnson had a couple, maybe just one start at center, maybe a couple before the break, but he looked great. Defensive stats, filling it up. So I would, I don't think
You don't think Cat takes time to play with D'Angelo?
That's the only thing I think with D'Angelo and his buddy there. Now maybe he tries to, get him on the court together.
Maybe. Yeah, that would be the one thing that I think would give him actual incentive to return. Otherwise, there's no reason.
And how crazy would it be if Cat just ends up playing one game with D'Angelo after all that?
Right.
And he still doesn't seem happy there. And I've been saying for a month that I've got a bad feeling about Cat in Minnesota, and I'm kind of feeling what you're cooking over there, smelling it.
What's your bold prediction?
I am going to say that Zion Williamson is going to lead the Pelicans to the number 8 seed in the West in the playoffs. And not only Zion, I mean, if you look at the roster they've built, I don't understand how the Pelicans, when they had Anthony Davis, they seemed to never be as good as they should have been. And then this year they were not as good as they should have been. But now the pieces seem to all be coming together. Lonzo playing really well.
Lonzo's nice production.
Lonzo's good. Josh Hart, I think, is underrated. He's not really a fantasy guy, but I think he's more of a realistic, good teammate, good defensive player to have out there. Now you got Zion playing well. You got Jrue Holiday. You got Brandon Ingram.
Don't forget about J.J. Redick. They've got a valuable sharpshooting veteran who can come in and fill a niche for them. Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. Now they've got to get past the Memphis Grizzlies, who are number 8. They've got to get past the Portland Trailblazers. They got to get past the Spurs. That's a lot of teams they got to pass, but they're not that far behind. It's not too late to do it. So I'm excited to watch them.
You got to, for that to take place, the Grizzlies got to come back down to earth, which, as you said, it's not impossible. But then you got the Blazers in there in the mix as well. But I like it. Hopefully, I think we're all rooting. We'd love to see Zion and
maybe they could ride the momentum into the AC.
Maybe. And if you own any of those guys for fantasy purposes, that's great too, because you want them to be competitive and fighting for something until the bitter end.
And anyone who loves the game, like you said, would just love to see Zion in the playoffs his rookie year. I mean, that would be great for basketball.
Zion and Davis in round 1.
Are you kidding me? I would watch that.
Yeah.
But if Zion's in, then Ja's out. So that's going to bum some people out.
I'd take that.
Yeah. I'll make that deal.
There's some Ja fans out there.
For around-the-clock player news, analysis, injury updates, depth chart changes, and more, go to rotoworld.com/NBA.